Om. So now let's talk about the thirst for liberation. This is what will make all the difference. From the point where you start, from that calling, for that spiritual calling, probably you didn't have any idea about spirituality or very superficial ideas. But eventually, as you start giving steps in a direction, in the right direction, in direction of that calling, you will eventually wake up to a different world, to a world in a different alignment, to different purposes. And after some purification, the dawning of this thirst for liberation comes. And this thirst for liberation is the fuel that will enable you to make that journey. Because for a superficial practice, one which is not aligned with liberation, just improving life, you don't go through these things, and it's nothing even. But for the serious path, for serious meditation, you will face many different obstacles. So all beliefs that were built, everything that you look on yourself and in life will change. So whatever is an obstacle will have to be surpassed. And you will see that there are many obstacles. You are the main obstacles, or at least what you think you are. And sometimes it reaches a level of intensity which is so high of difficulty. Of course, there's many beautiful experiences. There's many uplifting experiences. There are many signs, connection with the divine that is there to show you that this is the way. But at the same time, there are many dead ends. There are many difficulties, many obstacles. And because, first of all, you're going through your fragilities, known fragilities. Then you will have to go through the unknown fragilities. So it's like solving puzzles without seeing the parts of the puzzle. So sometimes the wall that rises in front of you is so high that you cannot climb it. It's impossible. And this is where the thirst for liberation makes the difference. Because if the thirst for liberation is not strong, it's mild, then you'll have options. And as you have options to turn back, to let go of this practice, of this quest, you will go back. Because liberation is for those who don't have a choice. Who going back is no longer a choice. So as long as you have a choice, you will go back. And this is why these walls, these high walls, stand up in front of you to test, to see if there are still worldly sanskars, worldly desires that they still have a hold on you, if you still have interest. So it's like putting a wall and letting you wait to see what you will do with that time, with that waiting. So a seeker of truth sits there and it's unbearable. That weight, it's unbearable not being able to go beyond. But what he does is he continues, he persists, he suffers. He prays and prays and prays and prays. He opens, he tears up his heart towards the divine, towards God. Because he cannot bear the pain of waiting. But there's no turning back. So you will die in the door if there's no other, if it doesn't open. As for the one who still has cravings for the world, who still hasn't finished his work, who still has not established himself in this solid ground, who is not yet a seeker of truth, wants God for his kingdom, not for himself, this one will turn back. He will look at that big door. Okay, so I tried, but not possible. And you will have an option. This is where the difference between one and the other are. He may have done a lot of things more than the majority, but he still has options. As for the seeker of truth, he does not has anything else as an option. And if you ask them both before arriving to that wall, they will have both told you the same probably. No, I have no interest in the world. Both of them would have said this. But it is the wall that tests us, that makes the test. And either it's like, oh, I'm stuck in this island. Oh, the last boat is going, but this is where I want to stay. The boat is there. And it's coming closer to the time to depart. And there's no one else on the island. It's an empty island. Nothing is there. Oh, but I don't want anything else from the world. I'll stay in this island. And then time comes and the boat is going, and the boat is already going away from the shore. The one who is really at peace and has nowhere else to go will stay. The other one will run and will jump into the water and swim in direction of the boat. So it is the thirst for liberation. And it's like there's an intense thirst for liberation, and at the same time, the rest doesn't make sense anymore. It's not an option. So if you go through the steps and the alignment that I've given in the previous videos, you will arrive at this point with this thirst. And understand that the real path begins as the thirst increases, because it is the fuel. You may have a great car, great engine, everything great, but if you have no fuel, it will not budge an inch. And the thirst for liberation is the fuel. In the beginning, this thirst for liberation is there, is expressing itself, but not like this, because you won't understand it. So it's a restlessness, something that you don't know what it is, but it brings you distaste for everything in your life. And it's suffocating you. You start feeling suffocated with all of it. And the restless, that you have to find that something. You don't know what it is. Maybe your mind says, oh, but meditation does this and that, and spirituality, oh, nice. But those are the possible associations that you can make. And that restlessness, that will regain a new shape eventually. And for those who are seekers of truth, they will reach this level of thirst, unbearable thirst, and this is the fuel that will make them tear the last ties with illusion and dissolve back into the source. As long as you want to play in the kindergarten, as long as you have interests into the toys that are in the kindergarten, you still belong to that kindergarten, and you will go back to it. But remember, that garden is your source of misery. The happiness that you experience in the garden is your source of misery. But if it's time to play, it's time to play. Nonetheless, you may go through all the previous steps, apparently, but if you have the sense to improve life, this is not a quest for liberation. It may, during the process, become one, but as long as it is to improve life, it isn't liberation. It will not give the same fruits. The understanding of the teachings will be different. You will be listening to these videos and making interpretations that fit your narrative. Only the thirst for liberation will allow you first to come to the big walls. There will be many big walls, many, some bigger than others. But you will face many, and it is this thirst that will propel you to continue, to persist, because, well, there's nothing else. Imagine if you're seeing a big obstacle in front of you, and you have alternatives. You can go through a longer path, for example. You can go around it. You can turn back. Fine. So why would you bother? But imagine that you have a big obstacle in front of you, around you. You cannot escape. Your survival depends on overcoming that obstacle. It's your survival. So you may be reluctant at the beginning, but as it comes more closer to threatening your survival, you will do whatever you can, and even go beyond that to overcome that obstacle. This is how it is for the one who has the thirst for liberation. And other people will not understand you, especially those who are unfamiliar with quest for liberation and all of this. They will think you are crazy because it's out of their world. They don't understand why you're so restless. Why are you like this? Why can't you just settle down and enjoy life like everybody? But the seeker of truth has no choice in doing that. He has been blessed by the calling in his heart. God is calling. And the only thing that will really satisfy that heart is answering that call. Is going back to the source, going back to God. It's the only thing that will, and that's the highest, that it's a pinnacle of human life.